Had Shorty yelling yes like I'm Daniel Bryan. Is that a good way to start stream, guys? Was that good? Hello, and welcome back to the Own Accord podcast. Tuesday at 2 p.m. stream ran by yours truly, Ben Gargano. Shitty day. Terrible, which is why I used my mock draft of the month today because it doesn't take that much out of me. I don't have to go like research every single bowl game to try and predict them accurately. You know what I'm saying? I'll probably make a video or do a live stream of like, excuse me, reacting to all of my predictions and seeing how many I got right. But um, the mock drafts, I usually try to only do once a week. I think doing them like if every Tuesday at 2 p.m. live stream was a mock draft, nothing would change that much between weeks. So I'm trying to do them only once a month so you get a variety and they still feel updated without feeling stale. You know what I'm saying? So we're doing it today. Of course, only one round right now because I'm not as cued into the draft as I'd like to be at this point in the year. And yeah, there's really not much else to say. I got a little mug root beer. I got the mini one. I got the mini. Mm. Oh, that's good. That's good shit. Anyway, we're gonna take my mind off the copious amounts of work I have to do by running a mock draft really quick. Chicago Bears at number one. To me, the choice is kind of obvious here. And if you're a fan of bootleg football, one of the hosts, EJ, had a really good way of putting it where if you're the Bears, and no matter how smart you're trying to be, if you pass on Caleb Williams and he works out to the potential that we all think he can work out to, then you're going to look like an idiot forever, and that's going to be one of the big reasons you're fired. So at the first overall pick, we're going Caleb Williams to the Chicago Bears. Great player, great, super awesome. Same kind of play style as Mahomes. He's very good at improvising, throwing from different arm slots. He didn't have a ton of like spectacular receivers this year over at USC, but he did the best with what he had. I'm not saying his receivers were shitty, but I am saying that they were not spectacular. If you know what I'm saying? This could also very well, if they want to keep Justin Fields, this could be a trade down pick. Maybe the Patriots want to come up and get a QB. Maybe the Giants are in the market. Maybe the Falcons, Raiders, Vikings. I could go on. Saints, but I am not paying PFF to let me do trades, so it's not happening. I'm sorry. Um, Washington Commanders at number two. My Washington Commanders. This is the highest we've picked since Chase Young. This is a big draft for the rest of the franchise's history. This will, I mean, we're going to get probably a new head coach, maybe a new, I don't know if we already have a new GM, but oh my God, we're going to get a new head coach, and this is going to be probably, preferably, the quarterback to lead us into a post Dan Snyder era. That quarterback has to be Drake May. Listen, as good as Caleb is, Drake May is equally as good. He is spectacular at playing within structure, although that's not to say he can't play out of structure. He did some crazy things on UNC this year. I am really, really high on both of these guys. I think both of these guys could end up being generational QB talents. I'm sorry, I'm thirsty. And both of these two will we're probably looking at those two top two to whoever is picking them, and it doesn't seem like there's any other way for it to go really. Patriots need a quarterback, need kind of everything on offense though, don't they? Probably going to be the end of the Bill Belichick era. Um, so you look at QB, you look at somebody to replace Bailey Zappi or McCorkle Jones, and Jaden Daniels is the top guy outside of those two. I think he's comfortably ahead of Nixon, Penix, and McCarthy, who just had a good bowl game last night. Um, but when you do have the opportunity to draft a perennial All-Pro receiver like Marvin Harrison Jr. looks like he's going to be, you draft him. And so The Patriots, they can wait to get their quarterback next year. They can thug it out with Zappy or Jones. But when you have that opportunity at 3, nonetheless, to take somebody as talented as Marvin Harrison Jr., I think that's what you take. Just straight up. Cardinals are kicking themselves because they beat a good team. They beat the Eagles just last week, and that has catapulted them up from, I believe, the second pick to the fourth. And they're not happy because they want Marvin Harrison Jr. And if the Patriots reach on a Jaden Daniels or a Bo Nix or a Phoenix, then Arizona gets Marvin Harrison Jr. But they don't. So to me, there are two options here. Arizona is another team that, I mean, they're at the top of the draft. They need help with everything. You could look Olu Fashanu to protect Kyler Murray. We know he's had some injury problems in the past, and to be able to shore that up, oh my God, to be able to shore up that offensive line with a guy like Fashanu or a guy like Joe Alt, who I also really like, would be spectacular. Malik Neighbors, I think, is also in a tier of his own, not in the Marvin Harrison Jr. tier, because frankly, I don't know if anyone we've ever seen is in the Marvin Harrison Jr. tier, but Neighbors is head and shoulders above the rest of these guys, above the Colemans, above the Odunses. Wow, Keon Coleman dropped since the last time I did this. McCogney high W, but I do believe the pick is Malik Neighbors here. Give Kyler a guy to rely on. He hasn't really had that since D Hop left, and with D Hop gone, they've got Hollywood Brown, cool, but not spectacular. Malik Neighbors has the potential to be spectacular. That's why I think they go with him. The Giants, once again, really want Malik Neighbors, but Odunze, Coleman, Devontae Walker are not the fifth overall caliber receivers like Neighbors and Harrison. So I believe they just take BPA, best player available, and to me that's Olu Fashanu. The Evan Neal experiment so far has not worked out. Their offensive line has struggled throughout this year and the past couple of years, and so I think they are comfortable being like, okay, we don't have any of the top 4 guys who we would really want, but we're going to get Olu Fashanu, who looks awesome coming out of Penn State. I don't think he's given up a sack in his whole career at Penn State, which I could be thinking of somebody else, but it sounds right when you watch his tape, and I don't think they're going to be sad about that at all. Yeah, I don't know why they show me this if I can't make a trade. The San Diego, Los Angeles Chargers here at number 6, they need a weapon. Their tackles, they're in kind of a unique position where I really like, totally blanking, guy out of Northwestern, not Penny Sewell, not Trevor Penning, Jesus, Chargers depth chart. Who am I blanking on right now? I might kill myself. Like, this is so embarrassing. Rashawn Slater is one of my favorite younger tackles in the NFL, and so that's not really a position they have to address with a guy like Joe Alt or another guy like J.C. Latham, who I like, Amarius Mims, Graham Barton, and Jordan Morgan, who might kick into play guard. And I think that frees up their spot to go Brock Bowers. This is as good of a tight end prospect as we've seen. As good as Kyle Pitts was, Brock Bowers is right there with him. Like, the primary complaint against the Chargers in the past couple of years is A, the defense sucks, and B, Herbert has no weapons. Both of these things are true. You're giving Herbert one of the best weapons in the draft when you take Brock Bowers out of Georgia. Tennessee Titans. O-line is bad. I talked to Jackie Boy Sports a couple of streams ago. It may have been like in November. But he said the number one thing that he would want in the draft is the offensive line. Now, no fan loves their offensive line, but watching this Titans team attempt to block any sort of pass rush is a little embarrassing even for me, as not a Titans fan, and as someone who doesn't really have strong feelings about the Titans at all. But we're going to go Joe Alt here, right there with Olu Fashanu. I think Fashanu edges him out. Just a little bit, but Alt is in his own right a spectacular prospect. That's massive. Can we look at his how tall is he? He's like 6'8". He's like Undertaker size, man. It's disgusting. First look, yeah, 6'8", 322 as a junior. How old is he? He'll be able to improve regardless. Look at this, 90.7 PFF grade this year. That's stupid. Um, 12 games, 1 sack allowed, 2 QB hits, 2 QB hurries. I didn't even know this was an option until right now. That's cool. But yeah, Joe Alt, Titans' offensive line is in shambles, quite frankly, and Joe Alt helps to start fixing that. New York Jets, weird year. Aaron Rodgers obviously died on the field in about 40 seconds in a Jets uniform. So his team doesn't really know what it is without who their likely starting quarterback is going to be next year. Do I anticipate them taking a quarterback in the late ends of this draft, a guy who's probably higher potential and less solid right now? Yes. Do I anticipate them maybe taking a shot on a Sam Hartman or a Joe Milton, maybe a Jordan Trout? Oh, Cam Ward, I actually like a lot for them. He just declared, I believe, yesterday, but they're not taking a QB at 8. So they're kind of tough to judge. I believe this is also a team that has the privilege of going best player available. And I believe that best player available is Laiatu Latu out of UCLA. Now, this guy does have some down games and he does have some age concerns, some injury history, but when he's on his game, I don't think there's a better edge rusher in the league or in college right now who is doing their job better than Laiatu Latu. He can win in so many different ways. He's got great hands, converts speed to power well, beats the edge well, can play contain. There's really just not a lot Laiatu Latu cannot do. That was a little bit of a rhyme in there. If you caught that, I feel terrible. I feel so sick, but I'm thugging it out. Yo. I'm going crazy. I've got my mug root beer. I should get a Canada Dry. That always makes me feel better when I'm sick. God, okay. Laiatu Laiatu is such a good prospect, though, and that's really the bottom line. Falcons, Arthur Smith is going to be fired after this year, and there's not a doubt in my mind about that. This is another team who has struggled to get pass rushing, to get pressure in the pass. And you could look at a Braylon Trice, who I like a lot, a Chop Robinson, who's a little weird, but I've come around to a little bit. A Dallas Turner, who had a good bowl game last week, even though many of the Alabama big men did not. 5 sacks in the first half is crazy. To a Michigan pass rush, I wasn't all that high on going into the game. But I think their need for a playmaker at quarterback kind of trumps all else. And for the second mock draft in a row, I'm giving them Jayden Daniels. All the weapons in this offense are almost quarterback proof. Scheme proof? No. Arthur Smith proof? No. But they could be succeeding with Desmond Ridder, who has looked bad through his first full season starting in the NFL. And even if Jayden Daniels is bad, Bijan's still going to find his way to shine. Pitts, London are still going to find their ways to shine. So by creating this, I guess, brand of offense where all of your pieces can succeed despite a quarterback, it opens you up to being able to take a less talented right now quarterback for the sake of, hey, we can develop this guy and in a couple years he may be like a pro bowler, right? Not to mention his legs add such a dynamic to the offense that, I mean, you see Lamar doing it, you see how much Josh Allen brings to the offense with his legs, and it's really been shown that it's an invaluable asset to any team to have a quarterback who is, so proficient in running the ball. Okay. Bears, 10th. They just took Caleb Williams. Do they want to protect him or do they want to get him a weapon? Odunze at 10 is a little gross to me. I don't love Odunze as much as many do. Do they want to edge? Oh, offensive tackle. No, what the fuck? Do we want to go? Do we want to see a Latham here? Do we want to see a Mims here? I don't think at 10 either of those guys are quite good enough to warrant this. Um, but tackles do go higher because this is such a valuable position, because it's so, I guess, important to an offense. It's a valuable position because if you get a tackle that sucks, your entire offense is going to have trouble just playing the game. But I do like the Bears tackles right now. Nope, depth chart. I saw Bears tapeworm in there. I don't really know what the fuck that was about. I do like Darnell Wright has had a good year out of Georgia, I believe, Tennessee. Got him in the same spot last year, so I don't think right now they're looking to roll up with another tackle in the draft. BPA could be in play here, and Nate Wiggins is in that talk. I do like, I believe his name is Jalen Johnson, who they have right now at corner. He is a baller, man. Super athletic, super valuable to that offense because of how many different things he can do, really. Um, BPA, slightly weighting positional value. I think the move is probably Jer'Zhan Newton. This is pretty high for an interior defensive lineman, but Jer'Zhan Newton's really good. Like, he's able to rush the passer pretty effectively. He can fill up gaps in the run. You do wonder about his size. I believe this is who I'm thinking of, and not what's his face. He's not that small. I'm probably thinking of somebody else. You do worry about some little things that come out on tape that may be able to, I guess, be taken advantage of in a higher league. Like, hand placement is something he struggles with a little bit. Balance is something he struggles with a little bit. But I think all the tools are there for him to succeed in the league, and that's why I think Jer'Zhan Newton was the best player available at that position. Raiders want a quarterback. They're not going to get it though, because I'm not one of those lames who thinks Bo Nix is the 25th best prospect in the draft. Um, nor Michael Penix, by the way. That's going to be a big debate, and it's going to be a mid off. Um, but the Raiders are kind of weird because that is their glaring need is quarterback, and there is no one here to really address that need. So they kind of start scrambling for other needs to fill. Um, you look at offensive line. You look at the tackles, like I said, J.C. Latham, like I said, Amarius Mims. You look at DBs, maybe, even though they just picked up Jack Jones, who's been balling for them. Jack Jones is really good, straight up. Not a good guy, sure, but on the football field, he's very solid. Uh, you look at maybe like a linebacker wouldn't go at 11. I mean, they're not the Lions, so this may be another BPA spot. They have Tyree Wilson, but he hasn't burst onto the scene like I bet they would have wanted him to. They have the receivers to do things. They have Renfro, they have Adams. Like, who knows how long Adams is in Las Vegas, though. He may be a Jet next year. But all that being said, all that yapping, I'm going with Chop Robinson. Listen, here's a guy who's really explosive off the line. As soon as that ball is snapped, he is shot off the line of scrimmage like he got shot out of a cannon, truthfully. There are things I don't like. He gets his head and shoulders over his toes sometimes, and that's a big no for edge rushing prospects. You lose your balance. It's way easier for tackles to be able to push out on you. Your shoulders get closer to them quicker, which means sure, your hands can get there quicker, but it doesn't matter how good of a plant you have. If you're off balance, it's going to be taken advantage of. This is something I believe that can be, I guess, drilled out of Chop Robinson. The physical tools are there, the explosiveness is there, the hands are there. He's not a one move wonder like you kind of saw with Lucas Van Ness last year with his speed to power, or Aiden Hutchinson with that stupid spin move that tricked everyone into thinking he was the best player in the draft. So Edge, oh my God, Chop Robinson is a Las Vegas Raider in my opinion. Um, Minnesota Vikings also maybe need a quarterback, but I like Kirk Cousins a lot. You're never going to hear me slander Kirk Cousins. PFF has one of their biggest needs listed as interior offensive line, and none of these guys are good enough to be fucking 12. Like, Powers Johnson's good, Van Pran's good, Zinter's good. He went down with an injury, though, I believe. That was pretty serious. But this could also be, I mean, this is weird for Romeo Dunze because it's like, oh, another team that doesn't really need a receiver, you know? So he's going to fall a little more than you'd expect, and we're going to see that with the Saints here, too. Is what the fuck is up with Michael Thomas? That's my question. What's he doing right now? Is he in Cancun? Anyway, their DB room does kind of suck. So does their pass rush. It's between Verse and Wiggins here for me, and I want to make Wiggins the first DB off the board. Listen, this guy's a dog, as close to a complete player as you can get. He's quick, he can play physical, which you know me, I love me a quick physical corner. He is not as big as many of his contemporaries. Yeah, 185 is not exactly where you want to see him. He may get exposed in press against stronger guys in the NFL, but it's not so glaring like, I don't know, maybe a certain Mississippi State corner that went 17 last year. Yeah, I'm salty. Yeah, you could say that. I'm salty as shit. But Wiggins, I mean, he's a complete package. He's going to revolutionize their DB room almost immediately. I have him as my DB1. I actually have a little surprise as to who my DB2/3 is, depending on what kind of mood I'm in. But I'm sure we'll see it. Saints, bad. Also need quarterback. No, no. Oh my God. Maybe might not declare. Actually, he just lost his bowl game, so we'll probably hear a little more about that soon. But I don't think. I don't think. Well, God, what's his name? My brain is so fucked up today. Quinn Ewers is all that good, right? Saints tackle. Is this the J.C. Latham pick? Penning sucks. Who could have told you that? Me. I have no proof of that though, which is what sucks because I wasn't doing this during Trevor Penning's draft. I was very specific with which players I was talking about, and Trevor Penning wasn't one of them. And now I have this, and I get to talk about guys who I was like, oh, I always knew he'd be bad, but I have no proof because I wasn't doing this back then. It's J.C. Latham though. J.C. Latham is to me my tackle two. Um, Tough game for that whole offensive line against. Do they have his grade out? No. Boo. Boo. Anyway, the big dude, 18th, I think is a little low, especially for how well how valuable the position he plays is. Uh, Big dude, he's going to be able to anchor really well. I like how quick his hands can be despite his size, and there's a lot to like. He doesn't make a ton of mistakes. He's kind of the safe pick. I believe he's at the top of that kind of tier two of tackle prospects this year. Broncos, let's ride, man. These guys are not good. These guys are really bad. They need a lot. Not DB though. Pat Surtain's a dog. Is this a Verse pick? Is this the Trice pick, who I like more than Verse? Is this the Leonard Taylor pick? No, I don't think so. It's a little too high. And it's really? He's all the way up here? I love scouting corners. I'm sorry. And this is surprising to me. He's 28th on the PFF big board. Huh. That is weird to me. Okay. 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 I gotta recalibrate my brain here for a second. This could be the Odunze pick, low-key. I'm not as big of a fan of Odunze as many are. I think he's kind of a height, weight, speed freak merchant. There's not a lot of technical part to his game that I'm a huge fan of. I haven't even dove too deep into it yet, but as of right now, it's not something I'm super in love with. Uh, but I don't really see anywhere else they could go. I think they're going to snatch him up because they're like, oh my God, this really talented guy fell. How could this have happened? Kind of like with Quentin Johnston last year. Please don't compare him to Quentin Johnston. I'm sorry. Quentin Johnston had like tangible things that made him look bad on tape. Things that like basic receiving skills that were not there for him. Odunze is not like that. Okay, if I see an Odunze Johnson comp, I totally just like I died. Like I saw the light, I came back for a second there. That's why I fucking paused so long. If I see a Johnston Odunze comp, I might. It's gonna get violent, is what I'll say. What a terrible thing to say. What a terrible, awful thing to say. Dogs barking, don't care. Seattle Seahawks, they're definitely good on DB and edge. I wonder where they are in sacks. I know they're high. Their pass rush has been way better than a lot of people expected this year. They are currently, I'm not counting this. This looks top 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 9. They're top 10 in sacks right now. Um, I mean, it's not a big need, even though it looks like there's no talent at the position. It's not their biggest, most massive hole. No, of course, the next uh, like a move is to be like, oh, Cooper DeJean because he's DB2 and he's really good. He's probably BPA, but they have so many corners. They just took on with this. Tariq Woolen is playing really well. So this is definitely a weirder pick. PFF lists their needs at interior offensive line, but we've talked about it. There's really no great interior offensive lineman to take right here. Like I wouldn't have, I think, Powers Johnson probably even a little later probably goes in the 20s. So this could definitely be a trade back pick. But I think their biggest thing to do right now is just add talent. And to me, the most talented player on this board is probably this is tough. Fuck. I almost took Cooper DeJean, but I did a whole spiel about how they don't need DBs. Even though I think he is the most talented player on the board, I'll take Braylon Trice. Just because the edge, the talent off the edge is not really there, even though what they're doing is currently working. I don't know how much longer it's going to be working. Price is super smooth. Some people's edge won over Laiatu Latu, and I don't hate that at all. A really smooth player, super. I can't keep saying smooth, but my brain is so fried that I can't think of any other word. Fluid player, moves his hands well, is able to utilize a good swim, rip move, where he's not so much into the violence of the play as much as he is into the art of a pass rush, right? If that might only make sense to me, but that's a pretty damn apt description in my own mind. Cincinnati Bengals. I watched a certain somebody with Jackie Boy Sports, Leonard Taylor, and we were both like, "Ooh, you know what would be sexy is Leonard Taylor next to DJ Reader because they're two very different players who I think would complement each other really well." And he was like, "Ooh, that's low key nice." Leonard Taylor is very much a pass rushing interior defensive lineman, while Reader is much more of a run stopping guy. Leonard Taylor has his faults. He can sometimes get off balance too quick. Jackie Boy, the big thing he pointed out was his legs are locking too fast. Like he's standing up and getting vertical before making enough impact with the interior offensive lineman, and that's going to be something that gets exploited a lot in the NFL because NFL interior offensive linemen are talented enough to do that. Gabe Hall sounds like Gabe Hall. Sorry. Leonard Taylor is my pick. Pairing him up next to DJ Reader would be so gross, would be so scary. Excuse me. It would be so gross, so scary, and I feel like me personally, at least, having a good interior defensive line is way, way underrated, especially in today's league. Arizona Cardinals, they went with Marvin. Nope, they went with Malik Neighbors. Early in the draft, they've addressed the wide receiver spot. This could be a Marius Mims pick, low key. This would kind of be a sexy Amarius Mims pick. This could also be a very sexy Cooper DeJean pick. And I'm pretty much torn between those two right now. I don't, I mean, on draft day, I don't know how far Cooper DeJean slides down, but I don't think it'll be to pick 17. They're kind of counting their lucky stars that he's here. You can get another tackle later in the draft, like true tackle later in the draft, a guy like Fautanu, a guy like Guyton, Tomatia, I like a lot. And you can get him later in the draft, but you might not get another Cooper DeJean for a couple drafts, and that's why I'm going to be taking him. Kool-Aid McKinstry, I do want to shout out. That guy's a dog, but he's not my DB 2 or 3. This DB class is really good in my eyes. A lot of people disagree. But you look at all the talent in the position, obviously the guys we've already drafted, Wiggins and Jean, and then you look at maybe not Kalen King, who slid down draft boards a lot, DJ Tampa, Quinion Mitchell, and his Rakestraw, I did not think was better than some of these guys. Kamari Lester, I love. And Kool-Aid McKinstry and Terry and Arnold are both great, but that's enough of me talking about the DB class because the Pittsburgh Steelers are on the clock and they took Joey Porter Jr. last year. They still have Minkah Fitzpatrick rostered. I don't think the DB room is a massive need for them. I think the offensive line is, and I think this is where we finally see Amarius Mims go off the board. Listen, ask any Steelers fan, hey, is your O-line good? And they will say no. It's really bad. It's actually one of the biggest problems in our organization right now. And I have to agree, other than quarterback, of course, and Najee Harris. But Amarius Mims, it just comes in to help fix that. Like, he's a very solid tackle. He's a great, super talented player. And he's going to do a lot of things right from day one that will help a hopefully competing Steelers team to compete even further. I mean, 17 straight years with a winning record. Nutty, like insane. Mike Tomlin is not a guy who is going for a rebuild. He's going to want players who are going to help him win now, and I think Amarius Mims is one of those guys. Green Bay Packers. We're looking at not necessarily DB here. I hope I get to draft my guy in the first round. I think I will. I think I see a couple spots for him actually, but my phone's blown up really quick. I'm sorry. Is there an NBA trade here? No? Okay, then why do I care about any of this? It's so dumb. Packers are a team I thought should take offensive line last year, and it's only growing more right. I think I'm only getting more correct because this good, solid offensive line is not going to be around forever, and you want to be able to help Jordan Love out. This could be a receiver spot. This could be a Keon Coleman to help him out. This could be a Ladd McConkey, Emeka Egbuka, who's really low. I mentioned, I believe, Keon Coleman. I haven't seen Devontae Walker or Brian Thomas Jr. yet. I will have to get to that. Troy Franklin was not on my radar until just now. I'll be so honest. Maybe I'm dumb. But this is a team who has high upside receivers. You look at the Christian Watsons of the world. You look at the totally blanking right now. My brain has completely, just completely taken a shit on me. It doesn't like me. It's not on my side. It never has been, but we've balled regardless. My whole life, Jaden Reed, Romeo Dobbs, those are talented receivers in their own right. I think Watson has the potential to turn into that X-dominating, spectacular guy, but I don't think he is that right now. I think they have enough time on Jordan Love to kind of wait for him and Watson to build that chemistry up. And I think that's massive for him. I think this has to be tackle. And I think it might be Fautanu. Fuaga is good. Fautanu is really good too. Barton and Morgan, I like as well, but I think they're big enough to kind of kick inside too. These are big dudes. Like, they might be playing guard just straight up. Analysis just says, now here's a guy. That's funny. That's funny. Oh, that's cool. You can see most drafted by. Who's my guy Nate Wiggins most drafted by? That's what I want to know. Steelers, really? Cardinals, and then Green Bay. Okay. Okay. The DB room, I don't think needs that much help. This could be a Kitchens pick, low key. I'll take Fuaga and stop thinking about it and actually move on with the mock draft, just like everybody else wants to see me do. Um, Verse is still on the board, and this could be the Verse pick. Honestly, it's BPA. BPA may be the DB I'm saving to kind of reveal because it's not Kool-Aid McKinstry. I've got a sleeper pick who's not really a sleeper pick because he's pretty high on big boards right now. I think this is definitely BPA for Tampa. This could totally be a Knicks or Penix pick or a McCarthy pick in the actual NFL draft. But this is not the actual NFL draft. This is me doing what I think teams should do in their position. And what I think they should do is probably take BPA Quinyon Mitchell. Quinyon Mitchell is so good. Sorry, I'm not going to shut up about this. I'm not a PFF grade guy. 91.4 overall grade for the year. Stupid. Production bad. Okay. You only have one pick. You only have one pick, then. Don't care. Physical tools, all there. Speed, all there. All of the hip fluidity that you want out of a corner, all there. I love Quinyon Mitchell so much, and frankly, you should too. Turn on the tape, and he is exactly what you want out of a first round corner. Which brings us to the Colts. Colts are in a pretty good spot because they're succeeding right now despite the loss of soon-to-be superstar quarterback Anthony Richardson. This is obviously not a quarterback pick because Richardson is coming back next year. I do like this as a receiver pick, though. Offensive line is here. Interior defensive line, there's nobody really worth going after. You could make the who's the Michigan guy? Chris Jenkins, T'Vondre Sweat. No, okay, we go now. Like, you can't really make an argument for a lot of the interior defensive linemen to be talented enough to go here. DB is also here, which makes me look at Kool-Aid McKinstry. But me personally, I have to go with Keon Coleman. Keon Coleman hate seems to be the new fad. It seems to be the new fun, cool, hip thing to do, to be kind of countercultural and be like, well, actually, Keon Coleman has this wrong with his game. Actually, shut up. Physical freak, amazing after the catch. Is he going to beat anyone with deep speed? No, but not every receiver can do that. Was DeAndre Hopkins beating people with quick, like downfield speed? I don't remember. I was like 7 when he got drafted. But Keon's just spectacular. He's another kind of height weight freak, not necessarily speed, but he's really good after the catch. He has the contested catch ability that a lot of people thought Quentin Johnston had. I gotta stop talking about Quentin Johnston in this mug. Nobody wants to hear about it. But he has a lot of physical tools that will serve him well in the NFL. The big thing that is a concern, which I am okay with people wondering about, is his bread and butter is like the contested catch. That is notably very 50-50 in the NFL. Like, that isn't going to pay your bills, right? But I think my comfort in him is knowing that he can do more, right? They ran a lot of screens with him, and it's because he is very volatile with the ball in his hands. He's an ankle breaker, but he is a agility guy. His 40 will actually be really important as to like where he gets drafted. Yeah, he fell off. He fell off in like early December. That's so crazy. People had him as high as like 10th. Remember that? And now he's all the way down in like mostly the second round. That's so funny. But moving on to the Jaguars. This could be a DB. This could be Kool-Aid. This could be the Van Pran pick, or the Powers pick, or the Verse pick. That's who I'm thinking of right now. Is Verse, Kool-Aid, and Powers. When you think about it, what would you rather have? I mean, Trayvon Walker's kind of come into his own this year. So maybe there's two schools of thought there. It's oh, I want to pair him up with another elite edge rusher to make his life easier, or oh, this hole is filled, we're free to go and grab Kool-Aid McKinstry. I'm personally of the idea that you can never have too much pass rushing, really. Which is why I'm going to take Jared Verse. He was the consensus edge one coming into the year, and he kind of struggled throughout the 2023 season, but it was nothing so concerning that he drops out of the first round or even the top three edge rushers taken. Where do I have him? I have him at what? Edge one, two, three, four. Yeah, that's not disrespectful, I don't think. Still being taken with the 22nd pick in this draft is spectacular. It's an amazing testament into how good you are as a player. Rams. QB maybe later rounds. They I think are in the same Jets boat of like the the Jordan Travises, the Miltons, the Hartmans, and the Cam Wards of the world. I think they could be taking a look at. It has to be defense to me though. Their offense has been very good this year. Stafford's playing at a very high level. Puka Nacua worked out spectacularly for him, and Cooper Kupp is still Cooper Kupp. So you go into the defense and you have very little talent. Period. Their whole defense is listed as a need here. Defensive line, linebacker, and DB is a whole. That's just every part of the defense, man. Sorry. So that kind of begs the question: who's the best defense special teams? Harrison Mevis is the number one kicker. Okay, that's cool. Um, how do you scout a kicker? How do you watch kicker film? I wonder. I'll never know. I don't think, but I'll wonder. Defensive line, you look at. I'm just going to sort by all the defensive positions really quick. Sorry, guys. Uh, this is not good content. But you look at three big Alabama guys: Rakestraw. Why do I keep saying Rickishaw? Nope. Pomolau. Nope. He's not there for me. Kitchens is interesting to me, but I think you take McKinstry. He is a bona fide CB1. He's going to be able to say, oh, you need me on whatever X receiver. Sure, I'll go lock him down, and he will go lock him down. Uh, this is a guy who thrives in both man and zone. He can do both, and it makes him kind of scheme proof. With a guy like Derek Stingley over in Houston, the scheme wasn't necessarily beneficial to him because he was much more of a man guy being asked to play more zone. This is Coley McKinstry's a guy who, if you ask him to play zone, he'll play zone at a high level. If you ask him to play man, he'll play man at a high level. This is the same for like the Cooper DeJeans of the world, who may switch back to safety. Um, that is something people have floated. I I don't know. Maybe like I'm not the Cooper DeJean expert. I'm very sorry. Good God, we ball. Buffalo Bills edge probably right. Like Von Miller, really? Greg Rousseau I like, but Von Miller, really? Dallas Turner would be the pick here. Receiver, other than Diggs, you have Gabe Davis, who's liable to go off kind of whenever, but you never really know when whenever is. Um, tackle is interesting. Is there a tackle here? Like I said, Barton and Morgan, I like more as guards. Fatanu, maybe. Linebacker not in the first. DB would be probably who? Tampa at this point. Lassiter, probably Lassiter. I haven't seen Arnold yet. That's on me. But I think I have to go. I may have to go Fatanu here, and that is what I'm going to do. The backbones of offenses are not the flashy receivers or the bozo quarterbacks. It's the tackles. It's the big guys up front, and no offensive line position is more important than the tackle. When you're able to solidify that, it helps to build out the rest of the team with the belief that, oh, if we have a play that's longer developing, we're going to be able to run this play because we have a tackle who can hold his own for a couple seconds. Receiver, it's going to be receiver, and for me, it's Mega Igbuka. For the simple reason that the Chiefs receivers dropped so many passes this year, and for Emeka Egbuka, that's not going to be a problem. For Emeka Egbuka, that's just not going to be a problem. Great hands, good catch radius, does a lot of the things Marvin Harrison Jr. does well. Not as good, but slightly worse, which is still a glowing indictment of his skill set. Really solid all around guy. Plus, he's an Ohio State receiver. So, can you really go wrong? Right. Eagles don't need a receiver. Don't know why this is still listed. Linebacker, maybe. And yeah, you definitely need a new DB. And that DB is going to be TJ Tampa, I think. Yeah, welcome to TJ Tampa. This is a really solid dude. Like, I think he's actually out of Tampa Bay, which is really cool. Hometown not listed. TJ Tampa, I'm pretty sure he's from Tampa. TJ Tampa, hometown. Oh, Pennsylvania. That's lame. But at 15, he moved to St. Petersburg, Florida. So works. Yeah, you just need a new DB, and TJ Tampa is a new DB. Slay has not been who you wanted him to be. Gardner Johnson is not who you want him to be. Something needs to change in that DB room. I'm going to be talking about the same damn thing with the Cowboys. I'm probably going to draft them a DB, but something's got to change on that Eagles secondary because Lord knows all the talent is there on the defensive line and in the linebacking core, which I disagree that they listed linebacker as a need for the Eagles, but I don't really think PFF knows what they're talking about sometimes. Just why I'm using their mock. Where's TJ Tampa going most frequently? That's what I'm interested for. What's the general consensus on? Oh my God. He was like third round. And now what happened between like early September to late? Was there like just a great game he had? TJ Tampa, I'm going to Google TJ Tampa September. TJ Tampa September. What happened to cause him to like jump up so many people? Did he have a great game in December? Is that what I'm missing? Who did he play in September? Oh, great, no dates. That's awesome. I guess Cincinnati wouldn't have even been there. Like this would have been at Oklahoma State. This is weird. Okay, yeah, sorry, I'm getting off track. Lions quarterback. Sorry, Goff, love you, but yeah. Oh, this might be the Powers pick. Okay, do I see any DBs I like that much here? No, no. Arnold, maybe. Lassiter. Newton, I like a lot more. A corner named Denzel out of Ohio State, you can't really go wrong. Max Melton's kind of a dog. Chow Smith Wade is a great name. No, I'm just looking at the names. I'm sorry. Yeah, I think this is the Powers pick. Listen, let's take a peek. Let's take a little peeky poo at this Detroit Lions offensive line. I don't know why I thought they'd be top echelon in sacks. Their primary edge rusher is Aiden Hutchinson. So, yeah. Frank Ragnar's still here, but he's an old man, if I'm not mistaken. What? Are you shitting me right now? He's 27? Dude, I could have I would have sworn to you that this man's been in the league since like before I was born. Anyway, uh what? That's so fucked up. This is the Jordan Morgan pick. Like I said, pick inside the guard. Really solid, big fucking dude. Um, yeah, 6'6", 320. That's way too big to be on that on the edge, unless you're unless you're Joe Alt. Lions have a lot of good pieces. I would draft them probably receiver in the second. They're going to be looking at the Legettes of the world, the McConkneys of the world, maybe the Johnny Wilsons or McMillans of the world. Polk just had himself a great game in the something Sugar Bowl, I think. Jamari Thrash is somebody a lot of people like. Moose Muhammad's a hell of a name. I'm just looking at names now. Julian Fleming is a guy who kind of pops in Ohio State. Yeah. Silas Bolden's a pretty good name too. But they're a guy, they're a team I think can wait for a receiver because they have the Jameson Williams, they have the Amon-Ra St. Browns, but you want just kind of an extra guy there to be like, okay, this wide receiver core is exactly who we want here. This is good. CJ Stroud's Houston Texans. The Houston C. Here we are. Here we are back up. I'll wrap this up, OBS Studio. I know you're struggling over here. I'll be quick with it. I promise. Arnold's a guy I like, but again, receiver could be fun though. Low key, Kinchins might be fun. They have Pitter back there though. None of the tight ends are good enough here. I would say the next best is probably Tavion Sanders, and then I like Cade Stover more than the average person. And that Colorado State tight end who pooped Colorado at the beginning of the year was so good. D-line, maybe. Like who though? This is kind of a weird spot. BPA says Dallas Turner though. Crazy he slipped this far. I think he's way more talented, but it's come from him kind of getting into a space where, okay, maybe he can go now after all these edges are taken, but then he falls into a space where, hey, a lot of these good teams don't really need edge rushers because good teams are already good off the edge. I could have seen him going to Indianapolis and them waiting on a receiver. I could have seen him going to Buffalo. Shit. But anyway, offensive line for I would disagree. I think their offensive line is playing pretty well this year. I would say their biggest need might be linebacker. They obviously have Ramsey in that DB room. I don't know. They have Holland. I was about to say, what might be fun is Cam Kitchens, but they have Javon Holland back there. I don't really think they're in the market for another one. They obviously are set at receiver. They're kind of in a really good position where they can take the best player available. And I think the best player available, this might be the Powers pick, low key. Great center, straight up great center. Who was the guy a couple years back? He went to Ravens. Notre Dame center, Ravens. Nope. Tyler Lindstrom, was it? Was it Tyler Lindstrom? Tyler Lindstrom. No, not Chris. Tyler Linderbaum. Oh. Yeah, that'll do it. Yeah. Sorry. He's a dog. And this kind of reminds me of him where he was so good and everybody was like, wow, this is the best center prospect we've seen in a while. And then he fell to like 28 because centers don't really get as much love, but they should. And I'm giving love to Jackson Powers-Johnson in this mock. Hey, Cowboys. You want to take a DB? Well, that's too damn bad. None of these guys are really good enough to go in the first round. Lassiter, maybe if you like upside, but you need a fucking safe DB. And none of these guys are really it. Closest would be King or Newton. Maybe it's King, low-key. It may be King. It may be Kalen King. By the way, I'm not drafting a running back in this, but Corum is my RB1 by a lot. Jonathan Brooks, who. TreVeyon Henderson sucks. Sorry. Who's the guy that's good on Ohio State? Mayan Williams? Yeah, I think so. But yeah, Cowboys might have to. Like, I think they're kicking themselves so they didn't get Powers-Johnson. The D line isn't there, just straight up. At Jenkins, I don't like at this pick. Any of the edge rushers, I think there's a big drop off here. Tomalolo, I don't love. Sawyer, I don't love. Adisa Isaac's a little underrated, but not first round underrated. VTech, go Hokies, go Tyler. Might have to be DB. It might have to just be like Kalen King, low key. Like, I'm sure they'll make a weird fucking choice. Like, is not a need that needs to be filled. We'll see, of course, how free agency shakes out, but I think Kalen King is him. He's not him. He's a second round talent, later second round too, but he's desperately what the Cowboys need. Niners, what do you get for the man who has everything? Maybe another DB, maybe another Terrion Arnold, maybe a fucking O lineman. Not even. Guyton, Somatia, right? Like I'm not moved by like any need. I don't know, do they want a fullback? Their fullback's probably fucking awesome too. Like, I'm not moved by any need that what the Colts claim to have. This is the best player available, and the best player available is probably Terrion Arnold. A little more boomer bust from this guy, but I mean, you look at this. Like a tough game against Michigan is not really good wide receiver heavy team. But I like the athleticism. He's a redshirt sophomore. He's super young. You can teach him a lot. Like, he's jumped up draft boards. Most people giving him to the Jaguars. Cool. But I mean, when you're the Niners, you have that opportunity to kind of take a project on, right? Because the fucking 49ers is easily a pick that could be dealt for who knows what. But that's the move right now. Ravens, good receiver. Brian Thomas Jr. maybe. I I'd want a possession guy a little more. Maybe Xavier Legette, that might be gross. Polk might be gross. Low key, Johnny Wilson might be gross, but these are all second round guys. Um, D line and DB. I like Humphrey. I like their DB room a lot. I don't think that's a massive need. Defensive line, like I don't know. Edge maybe. Like if I took Tuamaloau in the first after saying all this, I'd be like shitting on myself a little. Best player available. I mean, I do think they need another great receiver. Devontae Walker might be that low key. No, PFF fucking hates him. If PFF hates him, why is he 22nd on their big board? What the hell? The highest grade he's ever gotten is a 75.4. Dog. What are we talking about? Why has he jumped up so high? Fuck me. That's so gross. I haven't seen Devontae Walker that much. For Franklin, I haven't either. He looks great though. Wow. Just off PFF grade, height weight is nice. Trends. Holy shit. For Franklin was like, wow, that's weird. This is a weird graph. Uh, that is weird. Usually okay. He's going as high as like 25 now. I'll take Troy Franklin for the culture, but I'm not super confident about it. I haven't gotten into a lot of the later round receivers yet, but that's my mock draft for today. I'll put it up on Twitter. Oh, no. I'll put it up on Twitter. I just downloaded that, so I can post it on Twitter pretty much as soon as this is done. What the fuck was that? What is it? Oh, that's the thumbnail for this video. Never mind. Never mind. But anyway, thank you so much for watching all the way through. If you like my mock draft, let me know. I would be like, Ben, you gave my favorite team, my favorite player out of this draft. And I'll be like, oh my God, I'm so happy. I hope that's what actually happened. And if you hated who I gave your team, if you're like, Ben, this is the worst mock draft I've ever seen, Tyler did it. That's a Tyler pick. But as always, if you did watch all the way through, if you're here, thank you so much for watching.